It's time for me to say goodbye to a game, and that game is Kingsburg.
No drum roll?
No drum roll. Kingsburg is leaving my collection. This is a game I've had since, I don't know, pre-pandemic for sure.
Yeah, this version came out in like 2017, 2018, so...
Yeah, this is the second edition. In fact, it's what they call the definitive edition. I had played Kingsburg sometime before that, the original one, but that one was out of print. I did enjoy the game. If you don't know the game at all, it is sort of one of the earlier dice placement games where you're placing and mitigating dice and using dice in a Euro-y way. Sort of like, you think of things like Castles of Burgundy. The game's completely different. But I think I want to attribute this as one of the front runners of like bringing dice to Euros in a okay, it's not such a dirty word anymore.
Well, I know that I've only played this game once in my entire life, so maybe that's a factor of why you're selling it. Because I don't know how often it gets to the
Ryan
table.
Won't play with me.
I just don't know how often it gets to the table for you. It didn't get to the table a ton for me because it is one of those games where I play it and I really enjoy the mechanic, and I think I understand why, especially when the first edition came out, why it got such an audience. I think, you know, like you said, we have a lot of modern games now that do that. And I'm sure, like, it's never an easy choice to determine what you're going to call when your collection gets too big. You've got to call something. You're not a big caller.
No, I'm not. That's why celebrate's not the right word, but why we're doing this, we're honoring the call with this video. I've got stacks and stacks of games I'm getting rid of. And I'm going to a gaming retreat this coming weekend, so I decided, hey, I'm going to send them a bunch of pictures to those guys. These are friends of mine. So I said, hey, I'll make you great deals. Any of these games, any of you want, just make me a reasonable offer. Modest to reasonable, in fact, are the words I used. And I did get modest to reasonable offers. And in fact, someone said, how much do you want for Kingsburg? His name was Pretzel. That's his nickname. I'm going to protect the innocent. I said, $20.
That's a good deal for the definitive.
I think that's a pretty good deal.
This is hard to find. I mean, the original game was really hard to find.
It's hard to find?
The original game was, well, I don't think I don't know if this version's in print anymore.
I don't know.
I don't see it anywhere. But, so I guess all those questions lead into, as your first big call, why Kingsburg?
Well, so I didn't do a lot of that research. And honestly, there's so many games that, like, it would... that's why I would stop the culling process. I don't want to go into how much did this cost and like check 3 different sources for how much this is going for.
You'd rather pay somebody to come and get rid of it. So
let's not take it that far. I'm not paying anyone. I would donate them before I did anything. And in fact, I'm probably going to donate a lot of these, and there's a lot of games. But I thought I'd pop them up there. Kingsburg, like we said, is a game that was 2017, 2018. Yeah. And I think it was pre-pandemic that I actually even last played this copy of this game.
Pretty quick after you got it.
Yeah, right, a couple times. And that's sort of the key factor when I'm looking through my games, I'm like, when's the last time I played this?
It's been a while.
I mean, if it's been a while, this is like the whole sort of like, is it sparking joy? Get rid of it.
That's tough for a board gamer, though, because just looking at my game sparks a little bit of joy.
Well, and the problem is, typically when I've done this, tried to do this process in the past, I've said, okay, let's get it to the table. I'll get it, with Alicia or Ryan or whoever. I'll get it to the table. And then inevitably I'm like, that is a good game.
But then it sits.
But then it sits again until the next call process that never happens. So this time I decided, you know what? I'm just pulling the trigger. I'm biting the bullet. Let's do this. And Kingsburg was one of the many games that I put in there. And like we said, it's a great game. It's deserved of being in anyone's collection. It's just that I don't find myself playing enough to justify literally the space that it's taking up in my home.
I mean, you do. I know you like the game, and I know that the definitive edition comes with a ton of different modules, all the different content, everything in one box.
Comes with cool dice too. Go ahead.
I know that you have seller's remorse, I guess, is sometimes. So when it comes to Kingsburg, what do you think is the thing that, as soon as you sell this, what's the thing you're like, oh man, I'm gonna miss this aspect. Like, I wish I could have played this game for this reason.
So. The core mechanic of the game, I don't want to go down into how the game plays, but the core mechanic is really cool. You are building out all these buildings that kind of affect your ongoing game. But the core mechanic is you're rolling dice and you're using them on one of like 13 or 14 advisors on the main board. And when it's your turn, you can use any amount of your dice to go on them. They're numbered 1 to 13 or 14.
I think it's higher than that, 18, because there's 3 dice.
Yeah. So if you had 3 6s, you could place them all at once on the 18, which is a big juicy spot. Yeah. But then you're done. And I always found that to be like a really interesting, like, oh, that's interesting.
And not a lot of games that do that.
You could kind of piecemeal your dice out, even consciously, not even if you just had to. Like if you roll low dice, you could get the 1, the 2, the 3. The thing is, if you roll high, you're definitely not getting the 1, the 2, the 3, or the 4.
Exact.
Now, those are weaker, I think,
yeah.
But you're able to do more with more of your dice than if you all go at once. So it kind of balances out, but it gives you the feeling when you're playing of like, oh, I'm going to go here. That's interesting. And by the way, you're blocking those spaces.
Sure.
It's kind of like worker placement in that respect. So that's the core mechanic. Now, like I said, that all serves, you're collecting those resources to build buildings on this big sheet, and then you just kind of go back and forth and doing that. But it's that core mechanic that I think that I'll miss most. I think what I won't miss probably at all, well, I definitely won't miss any of the modules because I never played them. Like I don't even know what they are.
It's tough to get a game like this to the table enough times with a group of players that know the core game enough to experience all the different module content.
Well, and if it's been a long time for me too, I'm having to refresh.
Right.
So it's like, well, let's just start with this. And then we play it once, and then we don't play it again right away.
It's not necessarily a game that you'll play 3 times in one weekend.
Yeah, I wanted to show, by the way, before I close this up, it has really nice dice. I don't want to look too deeply into this because then I will have buyer's remorse, so I'm going to put it back away right now.
Seller's remorse.
Buyer's remorse.
Well, if you have buyer's remorse, that explains why you're selling it. But
that's true. Whoa. Ryan just cracked the code. Buyer's remorse leads to seller's remorse. Is that true? I don't think so.
I regret buying this, but now I also regret selling. No, I don't think you'd have any regrets having bought that and played it several times over the years.
No, the biggest hurdle will be when I take it to the retreat and inevitably Pretzel says, hey, let's get a game of it in. I might say no. I might tell him, no, I am not playing this. I don't want to regret having given it or sold it.
Like you don't go to coffee with your ex the last time. No, you just say, I can't, I'm walking away from it, it's done.
That's an interesting analogy. Anyway, this is the game that I'm saying goodbye to for now. I don't think I'll ever buy it again.
Until they come up with a third definitive edition.
2 weeks from now, they're going to announce some incredible edition that's deluxeified and all that.
Yeah, so we'll come back. We'll try to, if you guys like this content, if you like hearing about the games we're getting rid of, we're both in a kind of a culling phase right now as we're trying to rearrange some things. So definitely join our Discord, not just to talk about the games we're giving away or selling. We're also going to be probably selling games in our Discord. Other people sell their games in our Discord.
We have a good buy, trade, sell channel in our Discord, and every so often, anyone in our Discord will get on there and say, here is my big call. And it's nice because I think when people are in a Discord, there's all sorts of outlets to do that. But when you're in a Discord, I think the Discord servers that you're part of seem to be the first stop for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you might get first crack at some really good games. Anyway, let us know if you think I should have kept a hold of Kingsburg. Yeah. Actually, don't.
Yeah, feed into the seller's remorse. Tell David in the comments all your favorite Kingsburg moments.
I see one comment like that. I'm not answering any more comments in this video. No, I will get down there. Ryan will get down there. We'll talk to you about what games you're getting rid of, all that sort of stuff. Until next time, make sure everyone has fun at the table, and we'll see you then.